Suppose we have a rigid body in the xy plane and it rotates about a fixed z-axis passing through P. So the green line retains the same length and just rotates to the red line by an angle d theta. So a particle that would be sitting at the end of this line would displace an arc length of ds, as any particle in that rigid body would basically be undergoing circular motion. And using the arc length formula and dividing through by dt, we have a relationship between the tangent velocity and the angular velocity. And this here is basically the magnitude of the cross product between the angular velocity and the radial vector. So effectively this tangent vector is perpendicular to both vectors omega and r. And if we differentiate, we obtain a tangent acceleration, which is r by the angular acceleration, or the magnitude of the cross product between the angular acceleration and r. And of course we'd have a centripetal acceleration to keep that particle traveling along a circular path. A rigid body may undergo translation and also rotation. And typically we look at the translation of its center of mass, which we treat as a particle, and we've derived the big five kinematic equations for uniform acceleration by integrating the velocity and the acceleration equations. And similarly, if we integrate the differential equations for angular velocity and angular acceleration, we get the big five kinematic equations that describe the rotation of the rigid body, where the angular acceleration is uniform. And as we did to derive the translation equations, I encourage you to derive the big five kinematic equations for rotational motion using the geometry of these graphs, and post your questions in the comments. A disk is rotating at an angular velocity of 4 radians per second about its axis. Calculate the magnitude and components of the instantaneous tangent velocity at a point on the rim. So the tangent velocity is the cross product between the angular velocity and the radial vector. So using the determinant method, we'll write the angular velocity components in the first row and the radial vector components in the second row, which you can obtain using trigonometry. So that's going to give you the horizontal and vertical components of the tangent velocity. And to obtain a magnitude, well, you simply multiply r by omega. And for part B, the average angular acceleration is equal to the change in angular velocity on the change in time, which is the final minus the initial angular velocity on 3 seconds. And this will give you an answer in radians per second squared. And because it's negative, the angular acceleration will be clockwise and pointing inside the screen. A tire has a diameter of 35 centimeters, and at point A, the tangent velocity is 15 meters per second at the instant shown. And part A asks for the velocity at point B on the rim. Well, we know that VA is r omega, where the angular velocity is uniform on that planar rigid body and points out of the screen. So given VA and the radial distance to point A, we can calculate omega, and then a tangent velocity at B is equal to the radial distance to B, which is half the diameter, multiplied by the angular velocity, which we obtained from this equation. Now in part B, if the tire started from rest, how much time would point A take to traverse an angle of pi radians? And assume a constant angular acceleration. And we also know the angular velocity from the previous part of the question. So therefore we use the following equation from the big 5 kinematic equations for a uniform angular acceleration. And you'll be able to solve for the time. Consider a disk rolling down an inclined plane. So the contact point initially here, when a disk rotates, ends up at the top, and the center of mass of the disk translates to this point. Now the no-slip condition means that the change in the position of the center of mass is equal to the arc length from the new contact point to the initial contact point. And delta S can be determined using the arc length formula, where the change in angle is d theta. And then dividing through by delta t. And then taking a limit as delta t approaches 0, we have a relationship between the velocity of the center of mass and the rotational velocity at the contact point. And that's equal to the radius of the disk by the angular velocity. And if we differentiate this with respect to time, we obtain a relationship between the accelerations. So this rolling motion can be visualized as the superposition of the translation of the center of mass, which is the same everywhere on a disk, and then plus the rotation. So we have the rotational velocity at the contact point equal in magnitude to the velocity of the center of mass. And that's equal to the rolling motion. So we see that at a particular instant in time, the instantaneous velocity at the contact point is 0, because the translation and rotation of the disk cancel each other out.